Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Lucid. We're about to hop into another round of our game with Lemuria. And if you recall, the end of last episode, we had queued up a big fight with Midgard. So without further ado, we will see how that went. It's going to be me attacking, so this is the fight. We'll go ahead and watch it. I was moving all my forces with my Pretender into one of his outposts, which had a fair amount of vans, a lot of skin shifters, but not a ton of mage support. I probably would have thought it had more, but I think he put his mages in other provinces. He's casting Horror Mark, which, if he's scripting like this, he's expecting this guy to run in. And one of the ways to semi-counter an Immortal is to get them all horror marked, because eventually they will have enough horror marks where horrors come attack them. And then when they start getting attacked by horrors, they get even more horror marked, and it begins a vicious cycle where even though they're respawning, they are respawning with horror mark on them, and it is not good. But fortunately, it's not targeting him, and it's not targeting her. I'm not sure who it's targeting. I think it may be targeting one of my Grand Lemurs, which, I'll be honest, a couple horror marks is not a big deal. So if you, like even on a Pretender, right, you have your Pretender running around, they cast horror mark on you like 5 times. Like, oh no! 99% of the time, that's not a big deal. Not a big deal. I think Astral Geyser may have a stronger horror mark, and things like Hell Power have a very strong horror mark. But, yeah. This doesn't. I can't find out what he's horror marking. Anyway, we'll continue the battle. Okay, so now you can see I've got some sleep clouds coming down, and it's going to put some of these guys to sleep. I think it's an MR negates. Okay, so this is the sleep status effect. 10% chance each round to wake up, and it will also wake up automatically if the unit takes damage. So you can see my Wraith Lord has made it into combat up here, and he is doing a good bit of damage against these vans. And with a bunch of chaff around him, he's not getting focused down, and he can continue to dish out a lot of damage. We have Poison Cloud coming up here, and that is going to put quite a hurting on these guys. And I have Breath of the Dragon missing horribly. Also, you can see these guys have, most of them have had their glamour popped, which means that they will succumb. Okay, the armies of Midgard are mostly routed. Okay, we have Breath of the Dragon coming in, so hopefully these guys are getting all poisoned. Okay, most of these vans have run. And I think we've gotten most of the skin shifters. Alright, Netherbolt came in and pretty much annihilated a square. And these guys, once they run, are not very scary because they lose a big... he has a big harassed penalty from being surrounded, and then he also has a routed penalty. Okay, and there he goes. Yeah. And there's some guys still here. Okay, and we get them. I think that was the Galderman here. I'm not sure. Okay, so all in all, a very successful battle. And, yeah. So I lost 200 troops, which are basically, like 40 of them were full chaff, and then I lost about 150 good troops. But he lost way more. So this, while in the previous episodes you maybe saw some fights which were not good trades, this is a very good trade. He lost the Vola. He lost none of his Vanjarls, but he lost almost all his Einherrs, so this is about 200. Okay, so 100 gold. This is about 200 gold, so he's up to 300. These are only 10, so he's at about 250 or 350. He then lost 10 skin shifters, which is about 500 gold. And then of his vans, this is where he really got hit. He lost 11 vans, and that makes it, they're about 65 apiece. So it's about 700 gold, I think. So 700 plus 350... Wait, did I count these? I don't know. It's probably around 1,000 gold. And then he also lost PD. This is probably 15 PD, if I had to guess. And then some of his dudes may have also died in addition to this on the retreat. So probably around 1,000 gold plus 15 PD, I don't know, $1,400 worth of damage. So that's a lot, especially when you compare it to the income he will get from this. I mean, he's definitely, yeah, I don't think these provinces are going to terribly pay for themselves. So I've got this army. I may move them here, right? I may move them here, or I may move them here, or I could even be really tricky and move them up this way. Instead, I think I'm going to move them here. I see scouts, so he's probably building a fort, but I'm not sure. So we're going to go ahead and try this. I'm also thinking it's going to be hard for him to move a very large army to reinforce here, because I don't think... If you hit control him, you can see how many movement points. I don't think he can get his mages from here to here in one turn. So that's kind of the reason for attacking this, is I think it's probably the safest province for me to move a big army. Like, he'll probably try to defend it, but I don't know if he'll be able to defend it enough. So that is the thinking, and I'm going to go ahead and attack this. I've got, this turn I've got the Palisades coming up. So I'm not going to have as big a need for all these troops, and therefore we're going to go ahead and just ping this and probably do some damage, hopefully kill them. I've got 3 guys on Shadow Blast spam, which should be able to do a fair amount of damage. We're going to be doing Unholy Power, which will help our guys hit their very high defense units, and otherwise spamming Shadow Blast. So we'll see, hopefully this works. If not, I don't really have too much to lose at this point. We've started building a palisade here too. Got 4 months left. Yeah, so that's basically it. We got some zealots too, which is nice, except they cost upkeep. So I'm probably going to go ahead and try to use them in not too long. I don't have anybody here who can... I don't have anybody here who can actually move them out for me. But anyway, that's basically it. Our death gems are starting to accumulate again. Probably in a couple turns I can get another Grand Lemur. Otherwise, basically my guys are just researching. And yeah, we're going to try to inflict damage on Midgard for what I think was a very strange decision to... Well, I can understand him attacking me, but at the point when he realizes I'm going to basically continuously attack him non-stop just for taking these 3 provinces, he probably should have quit and been like, okay, fine, we can nap. Because he has nothing further to gain. Like, it's irrational for him to continue. The only way it's rational is if the full investment of troops he's putting on my border, plus when you consider all the losses he's going to take, justifies the income he's going to have from these provinces. Which is maybe 200 a turn, plus a few gems, just for these 3. And he might even be able to negotiate just these 2 if he were pushing it really hard and saying he wants the throne. Or like these 3 instead of these 3 if he really wants the throne. But we have to demonstrate to him it is not a good trade in terms of all the attrition he's going to take. We will struggle to do that until we hit Evocation 7, but we will do our best. So that's basically it. We need to get our Dominion up in this fort, so we are going to be using Preachers. Your Undead Preachers cannot change your Dominion. They do not have a Preach option. Right? You can't... There's no Preach if you're Undead. So I have to get the Indie Preachers, who actually can do both. They can call spirits, and they can preach. So, unfortunately, they cost money and upkeep. But we're going to preach. An Indie Preacher with a Temple can only get your Dominion up to 3. So every time they get the Dominion to 3, I have to turn them off. Like here, my Dominion's 5, so I have them on Call Spirits. Here my Dominion's 2, so this guy actually should... Yeah, it's 2, so I probably should put him on Preach. But really 2, because you could get a Temple check that bumps it up to 3. Yeah. 2 is kind of a border case. 1 and below, you definitely want to have these guys on Preach. And I'm basically going to have Preachers at the corners of my empire. That's where I'm going to be taking the most Dominion pressure. And I think that's it for this turn. That was turn... Oh god. I think that was turn... I think I'd be better remembering. Was that turn 25 or 26? That was turn 25. So this is turn 26. This is the next turn. but Rip Stale. Okay, so Abyssi has been attacked by Agartha. So he's basically telling me he cannot help versus Midgard. And I can't help him versus Agartha. So Midgard is raiding me here with a few vans, which is kind of annoying. Okay, and we managed to kill them, it appears. Except, we didn't because there's a bug where your replays don't necessarily match your battle, which is so annoying. It's almost like they better not even show the replays, which I don't really mean, but it's very annoying. Okay, we have Sleep Cloud, not doing too much. It's only holding a couple units back. I really need a good one planted, like right here. Okay, we do have Poison Cloud coming out, though. Yeah, we're getting a lot of these guys nice and poisoned. Don't know if we're gonna get him. Don't think we got him. How much? 2 HP to end with, huh? Okay. So that was not successful. We'll look at the battle report. Fortunately, my Immortals retreated, so they're not going to be dead. And I managed. I like routed a lot, and I inflicted pretty good economic damage. Unfortunately, probably a lot of my guys. Oh, that's weird. So this is a battle that went in my favor, because it shows me winning it even though my guys routed. So this is a kind of annoying bug with the replay. Though it could be due to different game versions, because I'm now looking pretty far back. And if that's the case, then I will apologize, but for talking bad things about it. Okay, so he's got, if we look at, I'm going to pause it real quick. He's got some Volas. He's got, it looks like about 7 of them. And then he's got Galdermen, who are air mages. And yeah. Pretty strong contingent here. So these are going to cause a lot of damage, and he's got a pretty good front line. Probably going to lose this. I don't think I brought enough. But we'll see. It's not always really about winning, it's about convincing him to not fight me for the lands that he took. Okay, we have the first Shadow Blasts coming out, and somewhat effective, but not very effective. Does he have anti-magic up? I couldn't tell. It looks like it, yeah. So he's got anti-magic up, and anti-magic makes your Shadow Blasts not work terribly well, because it's MR negates for the damage and for the paralysis. And I think this is the last of our Shadow Blast barrage, and that was pretty effective. Okay, our Wraith Lord is going to run. Basically, we have a pretty close to a full retreat now. So this is not what you want. You can see I didn't even really get close to making it through the front line. So I think this army was just totally beyond me. I probably should have pinged it too before I attacked to really... I don't know if I would have attacked if I saw quite how big it was. But I didn't. Wait, whoops, that was this one. And then finally I get attacked here. He's retaking this. And he's moving a big army, and this is a big commitment of mages. So when you measure how much this war is costing Midgard, it's costing him lots in terms of he's not expanding other places, like fighting other people and getting land, because he's having to devote all this stuff to me. It's costing him a ton of mage turns. If he were fighting somebody else, he probably wouldn't bring quite as many mages. And yeah. Like, this was way overkill. This is like 1 PD, right? And he wasted 10 mage turns. And I say wasted, but if I had left my army there, he would have needed that many. Oh, nice. So, I don't know if this was here before, but there's a basalt statue here, which gives me... I think it must have been. Anyway, already there. But it gives me 2 earth gems, which is nice. This is a really good event. So we found a hidden laboratory, and we got a robe of invulnerability, which normally would be awesome, but since everybody's already kind of countering my... my body ethereal with magic weapons and things like that, robe of invulnerability is kind of negated because it gives 25 protection versus mundane non-magic weapons, and basically everybody's going to have magic weapons against me, so not super helpful as an item, but it is a high tier item and I probably can find a use for it eventually. And anyway, our palisades went up too. Part of the reason for attacking that turn was if he was attacking me and I was attacking with more people, then the battle would be over here, not here, so even if I lost, I would keep them from fighting on top of my fort. But anyway, yeah, we are going to... So he went in and moved a raiding squad here. I'm building a palisade here. I don't know if he knows it, but he seems to have a pretty good scout network, so I'm going to go ahead and move here. Now, in the battle replay, I killed these guys, but... in the battle report, I did not. So, anyway, I'm trying to intercept them. I'm going to be taking this guy just to take it back or see what he moves in. I want to see if he moves this army in. Because Vanheim has... or Midgard has... glamour on most of his units, it will make it very difficult to tell where he's putting his armies, so I'm kind of just going to ping it here and see what's going on. I'm not in a hurry to get this province back. It's only 10 income with no gems, so yeah. Meanwhile, Octavia is going to move back here. This guy is going to raid. He's going to raid right over here. And we're going to pull the main army back. The main army is going to come sit in this fort. And this was a pretty profitable little expedition. I did a ton of damage to him. I killed a bunch of troops in both of these provinces. I lost some troops, but not that many. I think in total I lost like 200. And I would definitely trade 200 for all of this stuff. So that was a good deal. This was not a good trade, but you win some, you lose some. And yeah, I think that's it. So hopefully I've softened him up for the punch so that when Calum attacks, Calum will be successful. And we've reached Evocation 6, which in and of itself gives us Wailing Winds, which is really good. And that's about it. We get Mind Hunt, but we don't have any... For Mind Hunt to work, you also have to have Mind Burn or ideally Soul Slay, which I don't have, so... I can't really use much else here. Yeah. And I think that's it for this turn. I'll go ahead and hop into the next one. And we'll do, I think, one more turn this episode. I need to, like, write down what turn I click on, because I never freaking remember. I think that was turn 26, so I think we're on turn 27. So this is a different turn. We found Graveyard of the Damned and a Deep Crevasse. So that is really good. Graveyard of the Damned is one of your favorite sites, whereas it's reasonably common and it gives 2 death gems. So that's really huge. My death gem income is up to 20 now, which is quite nice. Quite nice. I've got a pretty staggering earth income too. I've got 6 earth income, which is a path I don't even have access to. But I'm getting these Mages of the Autumn, and they are running around site searching, so I should get some earth income now, which in Earth 2 is, fortunately, it's high enough to really get yourself all the way up in Earth. You can do Earth Boots, and then from there you can contact a Troll King, and then he can wear the Earth Boots and get to Earth 4. You can't quite get the Elemental Royalty with Earth 4, but anyway, you can cast a lot of big spells with Earth 4 because of Earth Power. You get up to Earth 5. Anyway. Then, what else? We have some battles. So, Midgard is continuing to kind of take back some lands. This was that same army from before, which again, basically just wasting mage turns. So even though he's very big, I'm putting him way far behind where he would be if he didn't have to use all this stuff in terms of research. So I'm just trying to make this war expensive for him so that he will give me my stuff back. We have a battle. This is the first battle that I am seeing between Agartha and Abyssia. So he has a lot of Chthonian reanimators. And these guys are pretty damn good at Skella spamming. He has some blind guards who have a bunch of minor blesses. And then he has a lot of these Agarthan crossbows, which are actually pretty damn good. So crossbows plus Skelly spam is generally a pretty good combination. And then he has these penumbrals who can just walk through the wall. So these are really nice to have in a siege. And here we have holy spamming. That's not going to work. Yeah, that's not an effective thing. That said, I'm not sure what he... Okay, so he should really have summon Fire Elemental. Like, this guy could have made 2 with enough gems. And I think this guy also could have made 2. So 4 Fire Elementals might actually could have won him this. I know it sounds crazy, but with the other guys doing Banishment and then 4 Fire Elementals, I think he would have won. The way you would get 4 Fire Elementals is turn 1 you do Phoenix Power. Turn 2 you do Summon Fire Elementals, but you cast it with 2 Fire Gems instead of 1. And then turn 3 you also have to use 2 Fire Gems, even though you think you might only need to use 1. But basically you put 4 Fire Gems on them and you do Phoenix Power, Fire Elemental, and you can get 2 big ones. And anyway, I think that would have been enough to win this, because Fire Elementals... Or maybe not win, but cause a lot of damage. Fire Elementals destroy undead. They really do. They're one of the better counters in the game to Skelly spam. So that was that battle. It appears that RNGesus is not on my side. I've been attacked here by some barbarians, but I should be okay. I have a lot of PD, and this PD is particularly good against barbarians. Yeah, we're okay. And we have lost some of our PD in this province. Okay. We can see Utgard's moving a big army up to finish Manoff. Agartha was successful claiming this fort and will probably be moving down to take the rest of Abyssia's stuff. Abyssia is really small. They only have 6 provinces right now. So it's going to be a struggle. I don't know how big Agartha is, but I think they're like something like this big. I think Midgard has this side of the mountain, and then Agartha has this side up to some point. I don't know how far. My scouting is not really very good. And I think that's it. So... in terms of what my actions are going to be for this turn, he's going to come take this back with a pretty big army. I was successful raiding here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to come and take this. I don't know what's here, but hopefully he'll kill whatever is there. We've basically dropped these guys off. He's got a pretty big group of dudes here, and I just need enough that it makes this not look like it would be very appetizing to siege. The problem with, if I'm going to cause him a ton of attrition, he may decide to kind of lace his boots up and try to stomp me out on the island, which would require him getting an army big enough to siege me. So, as I see him doing more and more of that, I need to make the incentive for him not to siege me even higher by putting more troops in my castles, but for now, I don't see him doing that. So I can, 80's probably enough. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and take this. I think this palisade is 2 turns from going up. So I'm keeping a bunch of dudes here. And they are hopefully going to prevent him from attacking me. That's kind of the goal. And I think that's it for this turn. In terms of research, we are 10 turns away, or less, 9 turns away probably from having Wind of Death. maybe a bit less. And then we're doing some site searching, so we're site searching here while we're waiting. This guy's summoning troops since I don't have a lab, so he's going to make a couple more ghosts for me. And I would like to site search this, but she is my only mage on a lab, and I want to go ahead and get another Grand Lemur out, so instead of her site searching, we are going to make a Grand Lemur. And so now if you look at it too, when you summon Immortals, they're tied to different provinces. So some are tied to this throne, a lot are tied to my capital, and now some are going to be tied here to this cave. And yeah. Which is kind of nice, because that way when they respawn, they're not all at one portion of your empire. So that you can kind of quickly deploy them to different parts of your empire. The problem with that is, of course, you have more critical places to defend, because you really want to defend the places where your Immortals respawn, because they die permanently if somebody takes them and then kills your Immortals. So I think that's it for this turn. Thank you all for watching, and we will continue the fight against Midgard until they succumb. I promise. Alright, take care.